Good morning, friends. Let's start our math lesson. Today, we're going to be making tens to help us add. Let's go watch our visual learning video together and check it out.
You can make a 10 to help you add 8. What fact do you see modeled here? The model shows 8 plus 5. Why might you want to make a 10 to add? Think about it.
Well, I know that if I can make a 10, I can see whatever numbers are left over on the second 10 frame. I just add those to 10 and it makes my math problem super easy.
One reason is that 10s are easy to add. Move 2 counters to make 10. Look at the 10 frames. Why do you think 2 counters are moved? 2 counters are needed to fill the top frame to make 10. When those counters are moved, how many are left in the bottom frame? There are 3 counters left. Now add with 10.
10 plus 3 equals 13. So, 8 plus 5 equals 13.
How does knowing the sum of 10 plus 3 help you find the sum of 8 plus 5? The sums are the same. So, if you know the sum of 10 plus 3, you also know the sum of 8 plus 5. How do you know that the sums are the same? The total number of counters did not change.
Let's try it. Select each equation to find different ways to group the counters to show the sum of 13. So let's start with 8 plus 5.
A group of 8 and a group of 5 make the sum of 13.
Now let's look at 10 plus 3.
A group of 10 and a group of 3 make the sum of 13.
Only how the counters were grouped changed. Now you know that making a group of 10 can help you add more easily.
Okay, now that we watched our visual learning video, let's do the guided practice problem together. So if you need to pause the video and go get your math book and turn to page 18, go ahead and hit that pause video and then hit play when you're all ready to go. Okay, now that you have your math book and you're on page 18, let's do the guided practice problem together. We only have one problem. It says make a 10 to add. Use counters and 10 frames, so just like they did in the video. Our problem is 7 plus 4. So if we look at what they did down here, we can see that they did 7 plus 4. They have 7 dots in this 10 frame and 4 dots in this 10 frame. Now they moved 3 dots to the top 10 frame, 3 yellow dots to the top 10 frame, so that way the top 10 frame is completely full. It shows 10. Now there's only 1 yellow dot left in the bottom 10 frame. That means that our problem is now 10 plus 1 more, right? So 10 plus 1, well, you know that's 11. So if the number of counters didn't change from 7 plus 4, then we know that 7 plus 4 also equals 11. Using 10 frames and counters really makes our math problem super easy. Okay, let's do the do you understand problem. Let me read it to you. Why do you move 2 counters to add 8 plus 5? So remember, friends, go ahead and hit pause, do your best to answer the question, and then come back to me and we'll do it together. Okay, let's talk about the do you understand problem. So we move 2 counters. I move 2 counters from 5 to 8 to make a 10. Then it's easy to add 10 plus 3. So that's why you move 2 counters to add 8 plus 5. Let me show you a picture. Okay, so I drew a quick picture of our problem over here. It says 8 plus 5 equals. So I showed 8 in this 10 frame and I showed 5 in this 10 frame. Now we need to fill in the top 10 frame. So how many of these counters am I going to move to this top 10 frame to fill it in? 2. Good job. So I'm going to move 1, 2, and I have to get rid of these 2 down here. So now we have 10 plus 3. So 10 plus 3 equals 13, which means 8 plus 5 also equals 13 because our number of counters did not change. That, my friends, is why we move 2 counters when we're doing 8 plus 5. Okay, now that we did the do you understand, let's go watch another short video.
When we're adding 2 numbers, we can make a 10 to help us.
I like the number 10. It's such an easy number to work with. 5 plus 10 equals 15. 10 plus 10 equals 20. 2 plus 10 equals 12. So easy!
Well, Marta, you can use 10 to help you add 2 numbers. It's easy. Here's how. Let's say you need to add 7 plus 4. And let's use counters and 10 frames. We'll use red for 7 and yellow for 4.
2 of my favorite colors.
Let's make 10. We'll move 3 yellow counters with the 7 to get 10. Now we can add with 10, since the counters now show 10 plus 1. It's 10 plus 1.
Now the math is easier. 10 plus 1 equals 11.
And since the number of counters didn't change, 7 plus 4 also equals 11.
Wow! Making 10 sure does make adding 2 numbers a whole lot easier.
Anytime, Marta.
Okay, let's go do some more problems together. Let's turn the page. Okay, guys, we're going to start off by doing number 2 together. So if we do number 2, it tells us to make a 10 to add and to use counters and 10 frames. So in your black folder, your little Westie, you have a page that looks just like this, and it has 10 frames on it for you. I would get this out so that way you don't have to draw your 10 frames. That way they're right here for you. And then use those counters we gave you. So I would break out that little baggie of these counters that we gave you. So use your counters on your 10 frames, and that will make it super easy to do these math problems. Now I'm going to use my 10 frames that I have on my whiteboard, okay? So our problem is 8 plus 4. So I'm going to show 8 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to show 4 down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm showing 8 and 4. Now I'm going to move some of these to fill in this 10 frame. How many should I move? 2. So I'm going to move 1, 2. So now this 10 frame is completely full, which means this is showing 10, and this one is showing 2. So our new math problem is now, it's not 8 plus 4, we've made it into 10 plus 2. And 10 plus 2, we know equals 12, right? So because the number of counters did not change, our answer to 8 plus 4 is also 12. Okay, so make sure you write it down on your paper, 12. Okay, let's do number 3 together really quickly. Okay, so number 3 is 3 plus 9. So 3 plus 9. I made my 10 frames say 3 and 9. So 3 and 9. Now I need to fill in this 10 frame. So let's start moving these counters up here. So I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now my 10 frame up here shows 10 plus 2 more. So our problem is now 10 plus 2. It's the same as number 2, friends. So 10 plus 2, we know that's 12. But remember, because our number of counters did not change from 3 plus 9, 3 plus 9 also equals 12. Good, so make sure you write down your answer. 12. That's a crazy 12. Okay, I want you to hit pause, and I want you to go do number 4 in your workbook, and then come back to me and hit play, and we'll see if we did the same thing. Okay, let's check our work on number 4. Our problem is 6 plus 7. So I have 10 frames and they show 6, and this one shows 7. Now let's move some of these counters up here to fill it in. We're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. So now this 10 frame shows 10, and this 10 frame shows 3. So our problem is now 10 plus 3. And we know that 10 plus 3 is what? 13. But remember, because our counters didn't change, that means 6 plus 7 also equals 13. So let's write that down. 13. Okay, guys, let's jump down to number 7. Let's do number 7 together. We're doing the same thing, but we're just going to use the 10 frames on our page to show our work, okay? So we have 5 plus 9. I'm just going to draw little dots to show my counters. So 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, how many of the 10 frames down on the bottom do I need to move up to the top? 5. So let's go ahead and let's move up 5 of those dots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to erase mine on the bottom. So I'm going to erase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I have 10 and 4. So 10 plus 4 is what? 14, which means 5 plus 9 also equals 14. I want you to hit pause and go do number 8 all by yourself, and then come back to me and we'll check our work. Okay, let's look at number 8. So we have 3 plus 8. So I'm going to show 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to show 8 down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, I need to move a lot of counters from the bottom to the top, okay? So I'm going to do them one at a time. Okay, we moved a total of 7 counters. So now we should have 10 plus 1. And we know that 10 plus 1 is 11, which means 3 plus 8 is also equal to 11. Okay, let's look at number 11. It says which number is missing. Okay, so the original problem is 8 plus 5. Okay. So if I use my 10 frames, so my problem is 8 plus 5. Okay, so now let's fill in this top 10 frame. 1, 2. So now I have 10 plus 3, right? So 10 plus 3. Well, let's look at our problem that we have on the paper, friends. Let's look at number 11. It says 8 plus 5 is also equal to, 8 plus 5 is equal to something plus 3. Well, watch this. If we know that 10 plus 3 equals 13, that means that 8 plus 5 equals 13. If our sums are the same, that means our equations, this part and this part, are going to be equal to each other. So that means 8 plus 5 is equal to 10 plus 3. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this part looks almost the same as what we have on our paper, doesn't it? On our paper, we just have a box here. Well, what number should we put in that box, do you think? A 10. So go ahead, let's write our 10. Okay, I want you to pause and try number 12 all by yourself, and then come back and we'll check it together. Okay, let's check number 12. Our problem is 6 plus 9 equals, our problem says 6 plus 9 equals 10 plus something. So let's make this a full 10 frame. I'm gonna move 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now I have 10 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. So my problem is now 10 plus 5. So if 6 plus 9 equals 10 plus something, it's going to equal 10 plus 5. Okay, so make sure you fill in the blank on your paper. Okay, let's turn the page and do one more problem together. Okay, let's look at number 15. It says, Tan's team scored 16 points in a game. During the first half, they scored 9 points. How many points did the team score in the second half? Okay, let's go to the whiteboard to do this problem. We know that they scored 16 points all together. So our answer is going to be 16. We know that they scored 9 points in the first half. So 9 plus something, how many points they scored in the second half is going to equal their total of 16 points for the whole game. So up here I have how many points they scored for the first half. Down here, I'm going to count out how many more they would have scored during the second half to get a total of 16 points. I'm going to count on from 9. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So if they scored 9 points in the first half, and then they scored some amount of points more to get a total of 16, let's see how many points they had to score. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They would have had to score 7 points in the second half. Now, let's check our math and make sure we got 16. Let's fill in this top 10 frame. So I need to move 1. So let's make sure we get the right answer. So I now have 10 and 6. So 10 plus 6 equals 16. Perfect. So we got the right number of points. So they scored 7 points in the second half. Let's write our answer, 7 points. Okay, I want you to pause and go do number 16 all by yourself, and then come back and we'll check our work. Number 16 says, the school has a clothing drive for charity. Anna's class donates 8 coats. Nico's class donates 5 hats. Adam's class donates 8 coats. How many coats were donated in all? Okay. Let's look at our problem really quickly, friends. Let's circle the numbers that we need to use. So we're looking for coats. Anna's class donates 8 coats. Okay, so we need to know that because that's coats. Nico's class donates 5 hats. Are they asking us about hats in this problem? No, they're just asking us about coats. So let's cross this off. That's just extra information that we don't need. And then Adam's class donates 8 coats. Oh, good, coats. We need to circle that number. So we should have 8 plus 8. Now you might know the answer to this problem because you know the doubles fact 8 plus 8, but let's check it with our 10 frames first. Okay, I have my fact 8 plus 8. I showed 8 and then 8 more. Let's fill in the top 10 frames. So we're going to move 2, right? Here's 1, 2. So now this one's full. It shows 10. And then how many does this 10 frame show? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my new problem is now 10 plus 6 equals 16. We know 16, yeah. So 10 plus 6 equals 16, which means that the number of coats, 8 coats plus 8 coats, is also a total of 16 coats because our counters did not change. So they donated 16 coats in all. Good job today, you guys. Let's look at your assignment. So you need to finish up these problems in your math workbook all by yourself, okay? You're going to do numbers 5, 6, 9, 10, 13, and 18. Okay, remember, if you need to pause the video, you can pause it so you can write those down. Then when you're done with those problems in your workbook, you're going to go do your digital quick check, your 1.3 quick check, okay? Make sure you go and do this today. And then if you have extra time, you can go on Math Facts Pro and continue practicing those addition and subtraction facts. So good job today, friends, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow for another math lesson. Bye.